What up, everybody? This is your boy Dedrian from House of Rasslin. This is my review for the July 19th episode of AEW Dynamite Blood and Guts. Like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notifications so that you're notified when the House of Wrestling drops its latest content. Follow me, Dedrian180, on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and Threads. So, tonight's AEW Dynamite Blood and Guts. We pretty much got 4 matches. 3 were in the first hour, and of course, Blood and Guts was in the last hour, as the previous 2 Blood and Guts matches that we had. It was similar structure and everything. For me, this Blood and Guts might be the best one. The reason being is just the participants, how it flowed. It wasn't like they were rushing things. It gave time for a lot of spots to breathe, and it set up other storylines in the midst of this Blood and Guts. And thankfully, we didn't get too many injuries in this Blood and Guts. Of course, last year, unfortunately, we had Santana from Proud and Powerful. He got injured, and then the first one, you had, and it wasn't necessarily an injury, but it was a spot where MJF threw Jericho off the cage onto this stage thing, and you saw the cart. Like, it was just a lot of, I wouldn't say controversy, but just like, that looked kind of, But man, overall, this was a fun AEW Dynamite. I enjoyed it. I'm gonna get into a few things that kind of I wish they would have enhanced a little bit more. But overall, this was a fun, entertaining AEW Dynamite. It's something that, and I know many of you are watching, it's like entertaining. Like, what do you like? No, they could have done this. The ending was a little bit flat. For me, what I'm learning as a wrestling fan going forward in the rest of 2023, what I'm trying to do, I'm not going to say I'm trying to do, but the understanding I'm coming to is enjoy the entertainment. And there's certain things I'm going to be like, I wish they would have done this, but for overall, just enjoy, be entertained, and at the end of the day, this is escapism. You know, there's a lot of stuff going on in the world, and for 2 hours on Wednesday, AEW Dynamite takes my mind off it. Majority of the time. There have been a few Dynamites I'm like, could have been doing something else. But overall, they do that. And man, this episode hit it and everything. I loved it. It was fun. We got the title change. Excuse me, guys. I got a little sinus thing. But man, overall, like I said, man, this was a fun episode. I'm surprised in the Blood and Guts there wasn't too many guys that were bleeding. Like last year, man, it was just like blood everywhere. Like, it was just like, damn. It was just, wow. It was insane. And this year, I mean, you had Moxley. I believe you had the Young Bucks, possibly. I know Yuta bled. But like Cesaro didn't bleed, Ibushi didn't bleed. I think Omega was bleeding, but for the most part, there wasn't a lot of blood. It was more physicality, which was something I didn't have a problem with, because the first 2 were just all blood, and this one was just more physicality, and I liked it. For me, it was fluid. Maybe some people seen it differently and everything, but for me, it was fluid. I loved it. It wasn't, like I said, it wasn't rushed or anything. I just enjoyed it. And that's what I'm going to go into. I'm going to go right into the Blood and Guts. You know, is this the best one? Me personally, I've seen all 3. I think this was the best one. It was the most fluid one. I know the first one, you really can't judge the first one because you could tell there was a lot of just emotion and just energy and excitement and everything. And that one, man, I loved FTR and FTR and Santana and Ortiz. Like, that was just physical, man. I love that one. The second one, I enjoyed a little bit, but again, you know, with Santana getting hurt, that just, for me, it just killed the whole vibe of Blood and Guts, because it's like, me personally, like Santana is one of my favorite wrestlers, and it was just like when he got hurt, it was just like, man, because going into that, he was getting, I mean, he was hot on the mic, his confrontation with Jericho, and it was just like, damn. But this one, man, this was really cool. You had the debut of Kota Ibushi on AEW. Um, that it was perfect because he was the last guy out, and you could tell there was a little bit ring rust and everything. I mean, that's expected when you haven't wrestled in, I think, close to a year. Any wrestler will tell you that reps in the ring gets rid of ring rust and everything. But overall, I mean, he looked pretty good. He wasn't doing too much that we normally seen in a Kota Ibushi match, but he looked real good. The ending, I'll start with that. Uh, that was a real interesting ending, the way it did. Before I started recording this, I seen a few people online like, "Oh, it was stupid." You kind of knew that these guys were the Golden Elite were going to win, and it's like, how did you not know that? Like, Kota Ibushi debuted. Why would they have him lose on his debut? Like, that doesn't make any sense, especially someone like Kota Ibushi, you're talking about a former New Japan Pro Wrestling World Champion. Why would you debut him and have him lose in a blood and guts match? Like, that doesn't make sense. So, I mean, that was to be expected. I didn't mind it because it's like, okay, Kota Ibushi's back. Okay, boom, boom, boom. I didn't anticipate Don Callis, Takeshita, and Pac leaving. I didn't expect that. And when that happened, you kind of seen like this subtle shift in the match where it was like, oh, so we're kind of getting like a double turn here because, the BCC has been heels for the most part. But again, in context, we got to remember that Bryan Danielson, he's out with a forearm injury. He posted, the images of his forearm. We don't know how long he's going to be out. Maybe 6 to 7 months, maybe. Hopefully it's a quick recovery. So you have that aspect, and then it's like, okay, he's not here. Don Callis is building his family. Pac got into an argument with Cesaro. He left, got some bolt cutters, opened the door, and left. And then when Kota Ibushi was, or not Kota Ibushi, Takeshita was getting kind of like just dominated by the Golden Elite, Don Callis left the announce booth and like called him back, so he left. So it's kind of like we're seeing the beginning of a BCC versus Don Callis family. Again, also, we don't know what's going to be with Chris Jericho. Is he joining Don Callis? Is he not joining Don Callis? We've seen early in the night after Daniel Garcia and Sammy Guevara lost, Jericho was on the announce booth, came at the stage, and they both walked right past him. So there's a lot of things that I know AEW gets criticism as far as, man, they don't have enough cliffhangers at the end, but they have subtle cliffhangers throughout the show that leave you like, where's this going to go? Hopefully that improves where they leave more bigger cliffhangers, but that was really interesting. The ending of the match, Moxley surrendering while, Wheeler Yuta was like being choked out with this chain and everything. And that was really interesting. Like, wow, like Moxley didn't want to see Yuta hurt, so he tapped out, and it's like, wow. And of course, if you've seen this, you've probably seen it on Twitter and everything, that towards the end of the match, both the Golden Elite and the BCC shook hands, and that was the end of their feud. So that leads to more of me thinking and believing that we're possibly getting a BCC versus Don Callis and his family. Right now, he possibly has Takeshita and Pac. Could it be Jericho? Maybe. That would be an interesting dynamic. I mean, I could see Jericho being with Don Callis' family. Don't know if it's going to be in the similar sense as Moxley pushing Yuta and Claudio. I don't know, maybe, but I'm interested to see where that goes. The weapons in this match were wild. The handcuffs with the chain, the table, the thumbtacks, the chairs, the freaking broken glass, which was insane. The screwdriver that Moxley brought in, and I did not anticipate this. John Moxley brought in a bed of nails, and they did a lot of moves on that thing. That was insane. Um, I did not expect that, weapons and everything. And like I said, like this wasn't necessarily a bloody blood and guts match. This was more of a very physical uh, blood and guts match. A lot of physicality. There was a crazy spot where I think it was Nick Jackson. He got tossed into the cage and he slid down, like his hip hit the. I was like, ooh, like I felt that. I was like, ooh, damn, that hurt. But man, this was a really fun match. It was entertaining. Like I said, for me, this was somewhat the best match, maybe. The spot where Matt Jackson was fighting with Yuta on top of the cage, and he was doing the uh, what does he call it? The backwards suplex, and he keeps doing it, and they got to the edge, and he man, shout out to these guys for pulling that off, but man, every time they got close to the edge of that cage at the top, I got a little, I cringed. I'm like, holy crap. And he teased that he was going to do a suplex, and Yuta flipped him back. It was like, whew, man. Very good, but that could have went a couple inches. That could have went, man. Like that's real, whew, man. But yeah, this Blood and Guts for me, I got to say, it was the best one yet. Um, I enjoyed it, man. It was entertaining. It was fun. And it was just a nice fluidity to it. That's how I felt it. I know other people may see it differently, but I saw it very fluid. It was fun, and it did, several things. It ended the BCC and the Golden Elite feud. Great. Hopefully AEW does that with other feuds. Hint, hint, Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland. Hopefully. It set up another feud with the Don Callis family and the BCC, and it set up what's going to happen with the Elite and Kenny Omega and Ibushi. If this feud is over, who are the Elite going to feud with now? So that's very interesting, and that goes into the next thing I'm going to talk about, Adam Cole and MJF. So they wound up winning their match against Daniel Garcia and Sammy Guevara, and after the match, they were confronted by FTR and Adam Cole. They're facing each other on the July 29th episode of Collision. That leads me to start wondering, okay, if you start putting the clues together, CM Punk lost to Ricky Starks because Ricky Starks, grabbed the rope. He lost the Owen Hart tournament. Boom. Could FTR lose the tag titles to Adam Cole and MJF, and that slowly starts FTR on a heel turn, where we get Punk and FTR as heels, and could that lead to a CM Punk FTR versus the Elite? I mean, it's kind of almost there. We haven't seen what's going to happen on Collision, and of course we got to wait till July 29th to see what happens with the tag titles, but that is a possibility that could happen. We could see FTR slowly turn heel because the Elite really don't have anybody to feud with. So that's something to think about. It's like, you got Hangman, you got Kenny, you got the Young Bucks, you got Kota Ibushi. We could get Kenny and Kota Ibushi as a tag team, and then we could have Hangman and the Young Bucks as a trio. That could be maybe a match at All In. Hangman Page and the Young Bucks versus Punk and FTR. Maybe that happens. But getting back to this Adam Cole MJF thing. This was freaking hilarious. They start off with a video of them at a Chinese restaurant. Um, I guess their food was like super hot and spicy. So Adam, MJF is drinking this drink and his pineapple drink, and he's drinking this white cup, and the waiter's like, "No, that's alcohol." So he's kind of tipsy. They clothesline the waiter. I do gotta say, that food in that Adam Cole MJF segment, I was getting kind of hungry, man. That food looked good, man, and they probably ate it, but man, that food looked very good. So then you get that. Then we get a backstage interview with Adam Cole and MJF with Renee Paquette, and they come out with matching jackets and gear. We get to the match, and MJF comes out, and he comes out to his music, and he does a little thing like this, and he's like, "What the hell's going on here?" All of a sudden, you hear, "It's all about the," and it goes into MJF's music. So it's like, ooh, nice, cool mashup. Then, before the match can begin, they start a dance off. MJF goes outside. He presses where the timekeeper's at, and they had like a button, I guess, for the music, or he presses it. We get a dance off. Did not expect that. It was somewhat cheesy, corny, hilarious. I like to use the term punctual. It got to the point. It didn't stay. They didn't do it too long where they're trying to make it funny. It was funny, and then boom, that was it. I like the back and forth between MJF and Daniel Garcia doing his little dance. That was hilarious, man. And I gotta say, MJF and Adam Cole, with each passing week, they're making it very difficult for fans. Most fans. I think there are some fans that just don't care too much for this, and they're like, "Oh, this is too funny. Like, I want Adam Cole taking the title off MJF. MJF is too goofy. He needs to be more serious." It's hard. I could see that. I understand it. For me, I'm loving this. This is freaking entertaining. It's fun. I like the fact that they put MJF in somewhat of a comedic element. We kind of got that when he was with the Inner Circle with Chris Jericho with the sing-along, but that was it. This fits MJF. The sing-along was like kind of over the top and like, huh? What? Like, all right, it's kind of cool, but it's like, all right, whatever. But no, this is funny. Adam Cole and MJF have tremendous chemistry. This is hilarious. And what I'm seeing on different platforms is that a lot of people are like, just keep this going till you want to break them up, till it's time for them to break up, because this is freaking hilarious. And that's really cool. We've kind of gotten some similar in WWE with LA Knight and his cheers, with Seth Rollins and his entrance. You kind of got that over there. You got that, with Impact Wrestling, Joe Henry, and just a lot of things in professional wrestling. You're getting these organic tandems or situations where it's just like, man, just let it go till just let it go. Just let it go. And man, I'm enjoying it. This was a really cool match. You got a lot of hot tags between MJF and Adam Cole, and it just made for a very cool match right before Blood and Guts. And man, it's weird to see MJF as a face, yet he's with the right guy to have him be, if he's a temporary face or is we going to double switch. We don't know what's going to happen. We can allude to it that Adam Cole is going to turn on him, because we've seen the backstage segment. Roderick Strong is like, I don't trust MJF. I don't trust MJF. Now I'm thinking, are we going to get Roderick Strong costing Adam Cole? That's something to think about. Something to think about. But yeah, this is fun. I'm interested to see where this goes. Like I said before in Blood and Guts, Chris Jericho came out after Daniel Garcia and Sammy Guevara loss, and they just walk right past them. So it's like, okay, are we getting Jericho potentially going to Don Callis' family, and are we getting Daniel Garcia and Sammy Guevara going on their own and be a tag team? I've said this on, I believe, my TikTok live, and I've tweeted this, like, Sammy Guevara and Daniel Garcia, in the midst of all this stuff that Adam Cole and MJF is doing, Sammy Guevara and Daniel Garcia have a unique chemistry that AEW could potentially have their next hot tag team with those two. Their next stellar tag team. Like, this could be really good for them. Sammy Guevara has already held the TNT title. Daniel Garcia has held the ROH Pure title. I believe the TV title. Maybe, forgive me, comment below if it was, I can't remember which one it was. But he's held the ROH title. So it's like they've done that, but it's like putting these two in a tag team. With Daniel Garcia doing his dance and Sammy Guevara, like, there's a potential there to really create a new tag team of familiar faces in a tag division that, for me, I gotta say, it's very weak. There isn't a lot of the way a lot of teams are being presented in the tag team division outside of FTR and the Acclaim. I'm not really invested in them. I love their work and everything, but it's just something that's not just like, all right, I really want to see this. It's like, okay, I'm watching because they're putting it on here, but it's like, it's not really drawing me into that investment and everything. But yeah, Adam Cole, MJF, this is going to be interesting. And like I said, could this be a way to subtly take the titles off FTR and turn them heel and align themselves with Punk, where those three slowly turning heel, and we get Hangman Page and the Young Bucks at All In? That could happen. And maybe we get Kota Ibushi and Kenny Omega in a tag match. I don't know who against. Maybe. Oh, Pac and Takeshita. There you go. I just figured it out. What the hell? There you go. That's possibly at All In. Other things that stood out to me on this episode of Dynamite was the women's match. There wasn't I can't recall a graphic being posted on social media like they normally do around 5 o'clock, 5:30 Central Time. I don't recall seeing a graphic. It was announced Britt Baker, in action. Usually when it's in action, it's a quick squash match. I don't mind it, but the way the AEW women's division has been presented in the last several months, I know there's injuries. Like, it's real. Like, it's the women's division is in a very weird, peculiar place right now, because you've had these injuries, you've had people return, then you've had subtle injuries with some of the storylines, and had to right now Willow and Athena are hot right now, and Sky Blue are hot right now. Chris Statlander, she appeared tonight in a segment with the Best Friends and wasn't necessarily the focal point. I don't know if AEW, I do know that they had to, the person that was in charge of the women's division got released because of some real crazy stuff that they were doing outside of the ring, and jail time and all that stuff. So I don't know if they're kind of in a holding pattern to reshape the women's division. I mean, they still have the Outcast thing going and everything, so I don't know if they're reshaping it. I know Jimmy Jacobs has taken that's come in and somewhat taken the spot of the person that was formerly in charge of it. You got Madison Rayne and Sarah Stock. They're collectively. So maybe we're getting a renewed focus on the women's division. A little bit heading into All In and All Out, and then we'll get into it. I know some people are very, very I get it. I totally understand it. I see it. I get it. But for me, it's just like, could be done a little bit with more intensity, grit, more emphasis on it, instead of being presented as somewhat of a filler match. But to each its own. We'll see what happens. But that's something that just came to my mind, with all the changes that happened within the women's division with the person that was formerly in charge. So there's probably a holding pattern to really reshape things and get it forward. Jack Perry. He is no longer Jungle Boy. He is Jack Perry, and it seems like he has Daniel Garcia's ring gear, leather pants, black boots, and everything. You had the Jungle Boy theme, the Tarzan theme. Then it stops, goes pitch black. Get to a video. Jungle Boy is pulling out something. I don't know what the hell he was doing, a body or something. I don't know if it was symbolic of him. I don't know. It was just weird. He gets into a limo in the desert, pulls up, and his new interest theme is Beethoven 5. I didn't expect that. I was expecting something more, I don't want to say grungy, but more rock with an edge. I didn't anticipate Beethoven. Like, I don't know. It, for me, right off the bat, it just didn't click with me. Maybe I gotta give several more appearances of Jack Perry with this theme to see where are they gonna go with Jack Perry. But from the initial presentation, just like, huh? What? Kind of weird. Like, all right, it is what it is. But man, he looked really well. Of course, he cheated to capture the FTW title, and man, Taz was highly upset. Like, he's like, "You're gonna get yours," and everything. So we're probably gonna get a rubber match. We're probably gonna get Hook and Jack Perry at All In London. That could be. I don't know. We'll see. I like his look. I like his demeanor. It's like, this is somewhat the Jack Perry we kind of been wanting. Well, me personally, I'll speak for myself. I've been kind of wanting this for like a year. Like, he needs an edge. The Jungle Boy attire, it was just like, it felt like it was already past its time. Where it's like, okay, Jack Perry needs to move on to something else. Like the Tarzan thing, like, it was cool in 2019, 2020, 2021. Halfway through 2021, going into 2022, it's like, all right, he needs something different. He was teaming with Luchasaurus. It's like, all right, they need something different. And of course, Luchasaurus looks dope. And Jack Perry's like, he needs something different. But I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes. It was a great match. Jack Perry and Hook, man, Hook doing the German suplex off the apron onto the floor. Couldn't take that. Nope. Could not take that, man. That was a crazy bump. Hopefully both men are okay and everything. But man, this was a really fun match to start off Dynamite. Really cool. I enjoyed it. Then we get the announcement of matches on Rampage, which look really well. I know this Saturday on Collision, we're getting the Acclaimed versus the House of Black. That should be a fun match. Hopefully the House of Black wins. We're probably going to get some interaction with Andrade and Malachi, which potentially leads to a Malachi Andrade match on Saturday. Thank God. Please let that match happen soon. Man, I can't wait. But man, the one thing that stood out to me, and I'm really looking forward to it on this Friday's Rampage, is the Royal Rampage. So the graphics stated that they showed the winner gets a TNT title match at All Out. The participants are, and this is who was on the graphic they showed. You got Jay Lethal, Jeff Jarrett, Big Bill, Toa Leona, Swerve Strickland, Brian Cage, Matt Menard, Angelo Parker, Jake Hager, Ethan Page, Matt Sydal, Isaiah Cassidy, Matt Hardy, Darby Allin, Nick Wayne, Minoru Suzuki, Butcher and the Blade, and Commander. So the winner gets to face Christian Cage. Okay, I think Christian Cage is wrestling. I believe Luchasaurus is wrestling for Christian Cage. That whole by proxy and things like that. So I haven't seen any spoilers or anything. So when you watch this video, you probably come across some spoilers at the Royal Rampage or what have you. I am leaning, I think it's going to be either Darby Allin, Nick Wayne, Ethan Page, or Swerve Strickland. Those are my four. Darby Allin, Nick Wayne, Ethan Page, or Swerve Strickland. Those are my four that I think are going to face Luchasaurus / Christian at All Out. I think that's possibly going to happen. So yeah, I'm looking forward to World Rampage this Friday. And man, like I said, this whole episode of AEW Dynamite, it had a lot of, with the BCC Golden Elite feud and everything. It was like, all right, it's blood and guts, cool. There wasn't necessarily anything else that they really heavily pushed or presented. Of course, the women's division, there's a lot of shuffling going on with the AEW women's division. So we'll see what happens. But other than that, I enjoyed this episode of AEW Dynamite. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Hit the notification so that you're notified when the House of Wrestling drops its latest content. Follow me, Dedrian180, on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. Man, we got a lot of wrestling this weekend. I'm looking forward to it. This was a fun AEW Dynamite. And like I always say, man, enjoy professional wrestling. It's escapism, and enjoy.